You ever find yourself struggling with a pattern, struggling with something that you really, really wanted to change, but you just never could seem to change it? It could be an addiction, it could be a habit, a behavior, right? Or whatever the case may be. And you're really struggling within yourself. You don't even feel comfortable sharing it with anyone. You don't even want to go for therapy because you felt like it's something that you should be able to get under control within yourself. But for some reason, you just keep on repeating the same loops, the same patterns over and over. You break down, but you don't give up. Have you ever found yourself going through that kind of internal loop and you felt like it took a toll on your external life? Today, we're going to talk about it. Frequency beings, awakened ones. It is real. It is real. As you are doing shadow work, as you are looking to become enlightened, as you are looking to reduce the burdens that were downloaded in you. It could be from what you inherited spiritually. It could be from external spells put upon us from external associates. Whatever the case may be, today we're going to talk about it realistically. Prayer does work. We bless the name of God. Prayer does work. But God also tells us that it is not just the faith alone that we need to project, but the works. And part of that works comes with us applying solutions. Sometimes you could be blind to the logic that you possess. The understanding is there. The intellectual understanding is there, but that intellectual understanding alone is not enough to completely interrupt and stop a pattern. You become aware of the problem. You become aware of the situation. You've done online research, right? You've read articles, you've watched documentaries, you've watched videos, you've subscribed to apps, you've done the workout, you're going to the gym. But yet you find yourself stumbling. And now you wondering, you can't seem to understand. You probably even thought maybe it's just a part of who you are, but a certain part of you is saying, nah. You got to realize that it's not a part of you. It's attaching itself to you, getting you to feel uncomfortable, and you can feel it. You can feel it. You got to realize that intellectual understanding alone does not rewrite patterns. That was the first awareness. You came to that realization. You said the logic is there. The intellectual understanding is there, but that alone does not rewrite what you're dealing with. You prayed and you did not lose your faith. You did not lose your faith. In fact, your faith even got strengthened. You realized that it was something that you needed to overcome to step into maturity, to step into your internal maturity. You knew it was something that you had to overcome. And you were not going to shy away from external tools. But you also realized that you could not condemn yourself, but you had to observe yourself. We already spoke about that in the previous video. We spoke about allowing self-observation to not equate to self-condemnation. So now your curiosity got you to go deeper within yourself, right? It's a little bit windy out here. Mind you, a lot of these videos I'm shooting in nature for a reason, because we're dealing with pattern recognition, pattern intelligence, and it requires clarity. It requires alignment, and we can easily shift into clarity and alignment once we get into nature, right? So once you got to realize that the intellectual understanding wasn't enough, you shifted into a different mode. You started to pay attention to how you were responding to the patterns. You started to pay attention to the thoughts that you were having before you got to repeat the pattern. Then you realize that those familiar responses had to be interrupted. You seen it clearly how familiar responses could operate in the background for a cool minute. Familiar responses could operate in the background for a cool minute before conscious choices get to step in to interrupt the pattern. Because one day you say, okay, I'm going to abstain. You probably could go through the whole day. Then you say, okay, I'm going to give myself 3 days, or I'm going to give myself a whole week. But then you find yourself repeating the same loop again. You probably blamed it on witchcraft. Could be. We're not going to rule that out. But now we're claiming internal authority. We're claiming inner mental sovereignty. So we're not going to be pointing fingers, giving external authority to external forces. We're saying, nah. So you realized that you had to break the pattern, and you also got to realize that for you to completely change the pattern or to put a stop to it, it required for you to be very, very honest with yourself. You realize that there had to be a replacement. For you to completely rewrite it, there had to be a replacement. There had to be an interruption, and then you had to replace the pattern with something better. A new habit had to form. And then you had to repeat that over and over, so it becomes a substitute, a better substitute. You realize that just because you were bored or whatever it is that you were experiencing before you fell into that pattern, you had to rewrite that. You stepped up within yourself. And I'm here to tell you, I'm proud of you for that. You being a frequency being, you want to live your life and truly enjoy your experience. There is a whole lot that we have to empty out. There's a whole lot that we have to deal with. Yeah, you might put on the smile. Yeah, you might step out into the world. Yeah, you might have good intentions for yourself and for your loved ones, but yet you're still dealing with stuff that most people don't know. Pattern recognition. And this gets me to remember that I do have a program that I prepared just for this particular discussion, this pattern recognition discussion, for those that are probably still dealing with patterns that they want to put an end to it. I got the pattern recognition program, a digital package, very powerful, because I went through certain patterns and processes that I had to sit with myself, tackle and deal with. And it got me to generate this pattern intelligence program that I'm now offering to y'all, for those that are ready to step within themselves. You're ready to step into that inner maturity and do that which is necessary so you could literally live free and not be blaming external forces. You step into inner alignment, into inner mental sovereignty, and you give the right internal agency, that authority, to rule over that which seems to be wanting to dominate your life, getting you to feel uncomfortable, getting you to feel as if though you don't have control over the internal faculties. But we bless the name of the Most High, because it is through God that we can come about with some of these programs that we can learn from. We still work with prayer. As we're working with these programs, we continually pray for the Holy Spirit, then fill in some of these empty voids, or some of these patterns that we're struggling with, right? But we still have to recognize that we have to play a certain role, a very important role. The Pattern Intelligence program is available for those that are ready. I think I'm going to have the link in the description. And we have a whole lot of different courses that we're putting together that are tackling certain internal patterns or problems that we face that we might not be comfortable discussing. But you know, when you come to the Frequency in Motion platform, we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to talk about that which is going to bring about real liberation, real empowerment, because we're meant to experience our existence on this planet and experience it with joy, with happiness, you know, being grateful for our stay. Thank y'all so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that the information that I shared with y'all today was somewhat beneficial. Please do stay tuned in. We got a whole lot more lined up due to be dropping. Frequency beings out there, light workers out there, stay attentive to your temple and give it the divine attention that it needs. Until next time, y'all, stay blessed.